Welcome back, family. It's Kyle King here, your instructor for another lesson of Classroom to Boardroom. We have made it to lesson 6, and this is going to teach you the stages. It was the 4 stages, but it's just going to be the stages. It may be 5, it may be 6. The stages of impactful teaching. Last lesson, we focused on creating your plan as a teacher, how to deliver it, how to produce the material, the high-level planning, the clothesline method, and all of the different things to get your students from point A to point B, regardless of where that is, just to really get your customers from point A to point B, to get your people from point A to point B, to get your clients from point A to point B. But today is going to be focused on how to deliver at a high level in terms of your teaching abilities quicker and more effectively and more impactful. So the objective is to help you and give you the strategies on how to teach, what to teach, when to teach, and why to teach. Cool. So, teaching. Teaching, you guys know I'm big on definitions. Teaching, in my opinion, is being able to take knowledge and disseminate it effectively to a group of people. Doesn't have to just be children. Disseminate it to a group of people, articulate it to a group of people in a way that they can achieve whatever it was your goal, your intended intention to have them achieve by the end of your time, whether it's 5 minutes, whether it's 30 minutes, or whether it's 60 minutes. So I think that a lot of people don't understand. So these are the 4 myths, and these are the 4, I guess, points that we really need to talk about in terms of teaching. So, teacher effectiveness. Is the key. Let's see if I could draw the key. What y'all think? Is the key to student achievement. That is an awful key, but you guys know what I was trying to draw. I'm not an artist. I'm a teacher. So teacher effectiveness is the key to student achievement. I believe that a lot of people make the mistake with really making the comment that, oh, my students aren't achieving, or my classroom isn't behaving, or my students aren't testing at the right testing standard, or all of these complaints and all of, frankly, these excuses. The true honest opinion from an expert teacher is that you just can't teach. You're an awful teacher. You can't impact your students. Your students aren't achieving because you're not effective, you're not efficient, you're not proficient in what you're talking about, and you think because you have a lot of knowledge that you can deliver it, and you're not being effective. So that's really the biggest thing, and really the biggest pitfall and myth of teaching, is that classroom behavior or classroom management really has nothing. You know, I'm gonna write this. Classroom management equals, does not equal behavior. I'm gonna tell you this. So I've been teaching for some years, and I teach in classes, I teach in boardrooms, I teach people on how to teach and train and all these different things. Classroom management has nothing to do with the behavior of your students. Truly. I understand all of the excuses on, oh, we serve a different population, and this is a different time, and these students are just different, and they have attitudes, and they have all these environmental factors, and you can't teach, or it's hard to teach students that are going through all these things at home and all. I don't want to hear the baloney. The true fact of the matter is that you can't teach. If you can't lead your class, if you can't gain the respect of your students, if you can't create the atmosphere, the experience in your classroom, classroom management has nothing to do with behavior. Classroom management means I am able to lead, not manage, lead my class to a point where my students are achieving in a way where I'm effectively not teaching, effectively leading, effectively communicating, effectively listening to my students to a point where they respect me enough, they receive the message, I'm relating to my students, and then I'm delivering my content to the point where they are ready for the next class. They are looking forward to busting in the doors and coming into my classroom. So it's the 3 R's that I just kind of came up with as I was saying. You have to be able to relate. You have to be able to reach. And you have to be able to really receive. These are the 3 R's to effective teaching. You have to be able to relate to your students. You have to be able to, if you can relate to your students, you'll be able to have a deeper reach on how to impact your students. And then one thing that teachers don't understand is that you have to be able to receive some feedback to your students. If your students, this is not, one of the biggest pitfalls of teaching is that you are the big teacher with a big head and you have a smile. You know what? We're going to embrace this smile. Get the smile off your face, because this is the wrong way to teach. If you are a teacher, this is you. This is you. You're the mean teacher with a big old head with a lot of knowledge, and you see your cute little babies with frowns on their face because you're not delivering to the point where you need to deliver, and you're teaching down to your students because you got some substance, because you may have a degree or a master's, and just because you have a you know what? Master's degrees does not equal mastery, okay? Let's just get that straight. Just because you have a master's does not make you a master in a classroom. This isn't the 60s or the 50s or the 30s. Just because you have a master's degree does not mean you have mastered your way or your craft or the substance that you're being able to teach your students. This is the wrong way of teaching. This is the wrong way of teaching. This may be how they teach in school, or what they want you to, how they teach in college, or what they expect from you. But to really be able to impact people at a higher level, at a deeper level, and a more intentional level, is being able to take your big old head and come down a notch, put a smile on your face, and create an atmosphere with your students where you can share knowledge between each other, and you can all grow with your students. It's not about just because you have a lot of substance or a lot of knowledge or a lot of experience or a lot of time or a lot of relationships or a lot of clout that you know what you're doing. That has nothing to do with teaching. Teaching is not about you. It's about inspiring the children. It's about inspiring your online program, your market. It's about impacting your clients. This is about delivering a message to the highest level of excellence to be able to get these people, regardless of who these people are, from point A, like we discussed in the last lesson, to point B. How we do that is very simple. It's called the gradual release model. And with the gradual release model, we talked about the clothesline method last class or last course, but in education, I believe it's very vital for us to be able to teach this method in terms of anyone. So the gradual release model, I'm going to write it, how do I want to write this? I'm going to write it like, let's see, this is the gradual release model. And this was taught to me some years ago as well. And this is the teach phase. This is, let's see, the collaborative phase. Collaborative. Let's see if I spelled that right. I don't know. I don't even care. And this is the independent. This is the independent phase. So there's 4 stages that you have to understand as a teacher. There's the I do it, and you've probably heard of this before. The I do it and you watch. I'm going to write those in a different color. It's the we do it. It is the you do it. In terms of the collaborative, and it's the you do it alone. You do it alone. The next phases, or the next stage of this, is the when I'm doing it, you're watching. You watch. When we are doing it, that is together. When you are doing it, I watch and I guide. And when you are doing it, this is more so of like the reflection period. You're doing it alone, we're reflecting. if you cannot create this type of atmosphere based upon the relatability, based upon the receiving of the message, based upon the reaching of your students at a deeper level, these are the strategies to be able to teach at a higher level. This is true impact. If you can hit these stages within your educational environment, I truly believe that you'll be able to deliver at a higher level, you'll be able to reach students at a deeper level, and you'll be able to receive better feedback. Better feedback. It says that research shows that 27% of student achievement is just based upon you saying the objective at the beginning of the lesson. And why I think that is because this generation is a lot different. I had the opportunity of studying in Ghana when I was in college, as we shared with you earlier. And one thing that I do learn is that the difference between international students, let's say international students, and not all, but the majority, I believe, just based upon my personal and professional experience, international students and American students. And another reason why America is really 35th on the list of countries, and why we're not dominating the educational field anymore, and why we're breeding, we're not really breeding those scholars or those innovators anymore, is because international students look at education as a privilege. It's a privilege to learn. They have a thirst for knowledge. They have a mindset for innovation. And they have a purpose for legacy. And how I see it is like their legacy, their families. They're fighting for something differently. Whereas American students, we look at it as a right, a governmental right. We gotta go because we don't want to get in trouble. We look at it more so as we're entitled because we're taught the importance of going to college and getting a job and getting these great jobs in corporations. We're not taught on the importance. We lack the importance. We don't understand the importance. Lack thereof. And we're doing it for society success. Because how it's marketed in America, maybe mainstream as well, is that you're in school, you're getting a high school education or a college education to go to college. You're going to college because all of the good paying jobs require college. But when you realize that you graduate college, you can't get a job. Or you got to go get another degree, which is now going to put you in $80,000 to $100,000 more in debt. And then you got to get a higher paying job. And how it's communicated and how it's marketed and how it's articulated is that if you don't have a degree, if you don't have a master's, then you're not able to be hired at the standard in which you're able to perform in terms of the professional environment. So now that makes us as students look at it as a right that, oh, if I want a good job, if I want to be a professional, if I want to be successful, if I want to be accepted by society, then I believe that I'm entitled because if I get good enough grades, I'm going to get a good enough college career. And if I do good enough in college, I'm going to have this great paying job and I'm going to have this house with the picket fence and my big dog and I'm just going to be very successful. And you really don't understand the true importance and the true nature and how education is truly the foundation. And you have this viewpoint of society success and really never really teaching towards your success. Like we talked about earlier, that you're not searching for your inner success, you're focusing on the viewpoint of society's view of success. So this is what we're going against. But one thing, how we tackle this is truly by not teaching students society, not teaching to test, but teaching to testimony. Effective teaching is this, not this. I believe that I've had more success in the classroom. I've had more success in conference rooms. I've had more success at speeches and workshops and all these different things when I'm teaching based upon the experience that I'm bringing to the classroom. So one thing that I recommend to you is, if you are not a subject matter expert in your field, if you don't have the relevancy of educational bandwidth or creative concepts or all of the different things that you need to be able to deliver a message, I would recommend you go get that experience. In my experience, I believe that the best teachers are the people that have went and got that experience in their fields and been able to come back to the educational landscape or educational systems or whatever it is that you're doing, whether it's on an online program, and be able to deliver from a place of experience, not just from a place of education. Because I do believe that experience is still the best teacher, because you have an insight on all of those different things. I don't care if you have a degree from Harvard Business School in accounting. If you can't account, you haven't done the actual job yet. I would take an accountant that had 5 years experience, that went to Cotton Mill University, I feel like I just made that up, than a student that just graduated from Harvard Business School with an accounting degree. The reason why is because that experienced professional has the knowledge in the field, the do's, the don'ts, the bandwidth, the relevancy, the relatability, and the knowledge to be able to deliver the message at a higher level. So what I recommend to all professionals on the other side of this screen, whether it's a tablet, whether it's an iPhone, or whether it's a computer, is to go gain experience. Gain experience. Once you gain experience, then I want you to focus on your gift, and then cultivate your genius. I want you to focus on your gift. What is my USP? What is my unique special position? And then I want you to cultivate your genius. When you're cultivating your genius, this really means, how am I going to deliver in a way that works best for me? I don't want to teach in Sally's way. I don't want to teach in Kyle's way. I don't want to teach in all these different ways. I want to teach in a way that I can be innovative in my classroom. One of the things that work for me is, it doesn't take resources to reach students. And I've recently really learned that you can teach at a high level. You don't need smart boards and tablets and all these different things. I truly believe that you need a mind, maybe a pen or a marker, maybe a board, or maybe nothing, to be able to teach at a higher level. And why I say that is that I'm going to teach something to you right now without using anything. The other day, I had students at one of our facilities, and what we taught them was creative thinking, critical thinking, problem solving, and how to work together as a team. I had nothing. I didn't have a pen. I didn't have a pencil. Actually, I did have one thing. I had a watch. I had a clock. And the reason why, what I did as a whole, is that I got a group of 6 students. I pulled them together. I said, hey, if at the beginning of the year, your teacher had a big tug of war competition. So you had this big rope, you had a tug of war competition, and you guys are working together, and she wants to use this as an icebreaker to teach her course. And she did it, put the rope down, and then you're going through the class and everything's good. And then the end of the year comes, and it's the last day of school, and the whole school's on fire. And you're on the 4th floor, and then you realize you're outside, you're like, oh my gosh, like, everything on the back side is good, but everything that's on the front side is bad. So what you realize is that your classroom is right next to the door to get you to the back side, but you can't go down the stairs because the whole staircase is on fire, but it's another door to get you upstairs and then on the other back side of the building. So what I asked them, I said, you have 12 minutes to figure out how, as a team of 6, all of you are going to live. What would you do? Critical thinking, problem solving, being creative, and working together as a team to get to a solution in 12 minutes. Let's put the timer on. You're under pressure, you got to be able to perform. I don't care if you're a 4.0 student. I don't care if you're a 4.5 student. Your GPA has no relation to student success, or your GPA has no relation to society success, or really just life success. Just because you're a scholar does not make you successful. And we have to teach students not to prepare for the tests, not just to memorize the Scantron, not to just bubble in the answers, because in life we're not bubbling in answers. It's not true false in life. We don't operate like that, so you have to think outside the box. So the students eventually got to my answer, and I wanted to teach them that impactful teaching is not the right answer. This is not impactful teaching. Impactful teaching is a answer, is the answer, is your answer. We have to teach our students to get out of the multiple choice mindset and get them to the choice, or get them to the point where they can create multiple creative ways to still get to an answer that solves problems. We have to develop problem solvers. We have to focus on effectively teaching in a way where students achieve more than answering a Scantron, where they can answer the plan on how they're going to successfully overcome their challenges, look at everything as an opportunity to get them to a place where they're now changing global issues that we're facing today. 2 + 2 is 4 anywhere, and that's great teaching students, but how are you going to create and apply 2 + 2 and reasonings why the economy crashed in 2008 just by a little bit of mathematics that banks didn't figure out in the housing market? So all of these different things, how are you going to apply that knowledge to your life? How are you going to apply that knowledge on that online program? How are you going to help students apply that knowledge on that conference, in that workshop, in that class, in that training program, to be able to help them achieve more? And how, as a teacher, are you going to not just get them to bubble in, but to build the mindset of being successful? How are you going to help people be more creative, solve problems? What problems? That's a question. What problems am I helping? What problems are being solved? It's not about getting to the right answer. It's about figuring out ways to train, equip, educate, and empower people to create answers. That's what innovation is. Innovation doesn't mean that I'm continuing to stay in a multiple choice mindset. Innovation means that I didn't even know that there was another answer, because I gave someone creative freedom to figure out another answer. Let's figure out a way to create other answers, not just what's on the multiple choice boxes. I am so excited to get into the next lesson, and I'll see you guys next lesson.